Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe my channel. Enjoy the listening. Aliens thought humanity was extinct, then we returned to reclaim the stars. Commander Ju Park stood at the observation deck of the Phoenix, watching as the blue-green planet grew larger on the main display. Earth, the ancestral home she had only seen in faded images and historical archives. After 5 centuries, humans were returning. "We're approaching historical site E3721, announced Lieutenant Hyan, his voice steady despite the emotion of the moment. No hegemony patrols detected in the area. Ju nodded, her dark eyes fixed on the world below. She thought of her ancestors who had fled this world, of the stories passed down through generations about the blue skies and vast oceans. The Phoenix had traveled for 3 months from Proxima Centauri, using the revolutionary quantum fold drive that human scientists had developed in isolation. "Bring us into a high orbit," she ordered. "Begin full planetary scans." The bridge crew worked with practiced efficiency. They were the best of humanity's new generation, chosen for this historic mission. Jill felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. 3,000 humans had escaped Earth before its destruction, now 20,000 lived on Proxima Centauri, a harsh world they had transformed into a home. "Commander, I'm detecting active hegemony monitoring stations on the surface," reported Security Officer Doyen. "Minimal staffing, standard protocol for historical sites." Ju's lips tightened. The aliens who had catalogued humanity's extinction maintained a presence on their home world. The irony wasn't lost on her. "Let's not announce ourselves yet," she decided. "Continue passive scans." The Phoenix slipped into Earth's orbit, its advanced stealth systems rendering it invisible to the outdated hegemony technology. As the ship circled the planet, the crew stared in wonder at the continents below. Science Officer Mji approached Ju with a tablet. "Commander, preliminary scans show the radiation levels have decreased significantly. The planet is healing itself faster than we predicted." Ju murmured, "Nature is resilient." The mission briefing had prepared them for a dead world. Instead, they were finding signs of recovery, forests reclaiming once barren lands, wildlife populations slowly rebuilding. "There's something else," Mji continued, her voice lower. "We've detected anomalies in the destruction patterns. The damage doesn't match our historical records of a global nuclear exchange." Chu took the tablet, studying the data. "What are you suggesting?" "The destruction was more targeted, precise. It doesn't look like humans fighting humans." The bridge fell silent. The historical narrative that humanity had destroyed itself had been accepted for generations. It was the foundation of their cultural memory, the reason for the strict controls on weapon development in their new society. "Download all hegemony data from their monitoring stations," Ju ordered. "I want to know what they know about what happened here." Hours later, Ju gathered her senior officers in the conference room. The holographic display showed Earth rotating slowly above the table. "The data we've recovered tells a different story than what we've believed," she began. "The hegemony archives suggest Earth was attacked from outside. The war wasn't human against human, it was defense against alien aggressors." Chief Engineer Jean Wu looked up sharply. "Are you saying the hegemony attacked Earth?" "Not the hegemony as it exists today," Ju clarified, "but one of the species now within the hegemony, the Tauren." She displayed images of an insectoid species with blue carapaces. According to hidden files, the Tauren discovered Earth in 2156. They found a pre-FTL civilization with rich resources and advanced technology. Rather than initiate contact, they decided to eliminate potential competition. The officers exchanged troubled looks as Ju continued. "The attack was designed to look like a human war. The Tauren waited a century before discovering Earth, cataloging it as a self-destroyed civilization." Weapons Officer Chuno slammed his hand on the table. "We need to confront them." "With what fleet?" Mji countered. "We have one ship against an entire galactic government. Ju raised her hand for silence. We need proof before accusations, and we need to know if Earth is truly habitable again. She authorized a landing party. The shuttle descended to what had once been Korea, touching down in a meadow that had once been Seoul. Ju led the team herself, stepping onto Earth's soil for the first time in her life. The air was cool and clean, scented with unfamiliar plants. Radiation levels within safe parameters, Ji reported, scanning the area. Atmosphere composition normal. Ju knelt and touched the ground. Somewhere beneath this meadow lay the ruins of a city where her ancestors had lived. Tears stung her eyes, but she blinked them away. Spread out, collect samples, stay alert for hegemony sensors. The team explored the area, documenting the recovering ecosystem. They found ruins partially reclaimed by nature, artifacts preserved beneath collapsed structures. Each discovery was a precious connection to their past. In what had once been a museum, they discovered a sealed vault. Engineer Jean Wu worked for hours to open it without damage. Inside, they found treasures beyond price, art, literature, and most valuable of all, historical records preserved on specialized storage devices. This could be the proof we need, Ju said, carefully placing the devices in secure containers. The true history of what happened to Earth. As the sun began to set, Ju stood on a hill overlooking the vast green landscape. In the distance, a herd of deer-like animals moved through tall grass. Birds soared overhead. Earth is reclaiming itself, Ji said, joining her. It could be habitable again within decades, not centuries as we thought. Ju nodded, watching the sunset paint the sky in colors she had only seen in simulations. This changes everything. Earth isn't just our past, it could be our future again. Back aboard the Phoenix, the team worked through the night analyzing their findings. By morning, Ju had made her decision. She addressed the entire crew over the ship's communication system. The Earth we found is not the dead world we expected. It's healing, and the truth of its destruction has been hidden. We came seeking our past, but we found our future, and we've uncovered a truth the hegemony has buried. She paused, knowing her next words would change humanity's path forever. We will not simply reclaim our history, we will reclaim our home. But first, we must reveal the truth to the galaxy. Prepare the ship for departure. Our mission has just begun. As the Phoenix broke orbit, Ju took one last look at the blue-green planet below. 500 years ago, humanity had fled to the stars. Now they were returning, not as refugees but as discoverers, ready to take back what was rightfully theirs. Captain Nolo paced the bridge of the taxel, his four legs clicking against the metal floor. His antenna twitched with irritation. Patrol duty around historical site E3721 was usually boring. Sometimes they caught smugglers trying to steal ancient human artifacts, but mostly they just orbited and ran scans. Captain, we're detecting an unknown vessel approaching the restricted zone, said First Officer Krell, her compound eyes fixed on the sensor display. Nolo moved to her station. Smugglers again. They're getting bolder. I don't think so, sir, Krell adjusted the sensors. The ship doesn't match any known design in our database, and it's big. Nolo studied the readings. The vessel was indeed unlike anything he had seen before. Its energy signature was strange, operating on principles he didn't recognize. Hail them, he ordered. Standard warning protocol. The communications officer sent the message. No response, Captain. Prepare weapon systems, Nolo said. The Taxel was only a patrol vessel, but it carried enough firepower to deal with smugglers or pirates. Move to intercept course. The Taxel accelerated toward the unknown ship. As they drew closer, the bridge crew fell silent in awe. The vessel was sleek and elegant with no visible propulsion system. It seemed to glide through space like a living thing. Sir, the sensor officer called out, we're detecting energy buildup in the vessel, but it doesn't match any known weapons profile. Nolo's mandibles clicked nervously. Defensive posture, shields at maximum. Suddenly, the main screen lit up with an incoming transmission. The communications officer looked confused. "Sir, they're hailing us, but the language doesn't match any in our translation matrix." "Run it through the historical archives," Nolo ordered. "Maybe it's a lost colony using an outdated dialect." The computer worked for several minutes. The bridge crew waited tensely. Finally, the translation matrix beeped. "Match found," the computer announced. "Language identified as Earth Standard English, circa 21st to 22nd century." Nolo's antenna stood straight up in shock. "That's impossible." "Display the transmission." The screen showed a female humanoid with dark hair pulled back neatly. She wore a uniform of deep blue with silver insignia. "This is Commander Ju Park of the Earth vessel Phoenix," she said. "We request peaceful communication with your vessel." "Impossible," Nolo chittered to Krell. "The humans are extinct." Krell's mandibles worked nervously. The translation could be wrong. "Respond," Nolo ordered the communications officer. "Ask who they really are." The communications officer sent the message. The woman on screen appeared confused, then smiled slightly. "I understand your disbelief," she replied. "According to your records, humans destroyed themselves centuries ago. Those records are incomplete. We are descendants of a colony ship that left Earth before its devastation. We have returned to reclaim our ancestral home." Nolo stepped closer to the screen. "If you are truly human, you must know that Earth is designated Historical Site E3721 under hegemony protection. No settlement is permitted." Commander Park's expression remained calm. "We are aware of the designation. We are also aware that the hegemony has no legitimate authority over Earth. It is the birthplace of our species. You will maintain your position until a diplomatic vessel arrives," Nolo ordered. "Any attempt to approach Earth will be considered hostile action." "We have no hostile intentions," Park replied, "but we will not be prevented from visiting our home world." The transmission ended. Nolo immediately sent an emergency message to Hegemony Command. Within minutes, he received orders to maintain surveillance but avoid confrontation until reinforcements arrived. "Sir," the science officer called out, "I've analyzed their ship. The technology is remarkable. Their propulsion system appears to operate on quantum principles we've only theorized about." Krell moved to the science station. "How is that possible? Humans were a pre-FTL civilization when they went extinct." "Apparently not extinct," Nolo muttered, "and they've been busy." The news spread through the hegemony communication network at faster than light speed. An emergency session of the Science Council was convened. Leading scientists studied the scans of the Phoenix with growing alarm and fascination. Science Minister Vizal, a tall spindly being with translucent skin, addressed the council. "The human vessel uses technology developed along completely different lines than our own. They appear to have mastered quantum field manipulation in ways we never considered." "Is it a threat?" asked one council member. "Any sufficiently advanced technology can be a threat," Zal replied. "But what concerns me more is how they develop this technology in isolation. Their approach is elegant, efficient. It suggests humans may possess innate scientific aptitudes we underestimated." On the Phoenix, Commander Park met with her senior staff. The hegemony's reaction had been predictable. "They've called for reinforcements," reported Security Officer Doyen. 3 warships are en route. Estimated arrival in 6 hours. Joe nodded. "That gives us time to prepare." "Have we analyzed their communication frequencies?" "Yes, Commander," answered Communications Officer Yuna. "We can access their network. They're discussing us right now. The hegemony scientific community is in an uproar." "And the Tauren? Any reaction from them?" Yuna hesitated. They've called an emergency meeting of their High Council. Their communications are heavily encrypted, but we detected references to containment and historical security. They're afraid we know the truth, Zhu said quietly. Chief Engineer Jean Wu spoke up. Commander, we could easily evade their warships with the quantum fold drive. We didn't come all this way to run, Zhu replied. We came for the truth and to reclaim what's ours. She turned to her diplomatic officer. Prepare a data package. Include our historical records and evidence of our legitimate claim to Earth. We'll transmit it to every species in the hegemony, not just the leadership. Back on the Taxil, Captain Nolo received a private transmission from his superior, Admiral Zak. This situation is more complicated than it appears, the Admiral said. The Tauran delegation is demanding immediate action to remove the human vessel from the system. The humans seem peaceful, Nolo replied. Their technology is advanced, but they've made no aggressive moves. The Tauran are insistent, Admiral Zek said, looking uncomfortable. They claim humans are dangerously unpredictable and cite historical evidence of their violent nature. With respect, Admiral, something doesn't add up. The Tauran weren't even part of the hegemony when Earth was discovered. Why are they so concerned now? The Admiral's antenna drooped. That's not for us to question, Captain. Maintain your position. Reinforcements will handle this situation. As the transmission ended, Nolo turned to find Krell standing nearby. The Tauran are hiding something, Krell said quietly. It's not our place to speculate, Nolo replied, but his antenna twitched with doubt. 3 hours later, the Phoenix sent a system-wide broadcast. Every hegemony vessel and outpost received the same message. Historical records showing Earth's devastation had been caused by Tauran weapons, not human warfare. On the Taxil's bridge, the crew watched in stunned silence as evidence unfolded before them, ancient recordings showing Tauran ships attacking Earth cities, diplomatic logs proving the Tauran had deliberately falsified the historical record. Sir, Krell whispered, if this is true, it changes everything. Nolo finished, the hegemony prided itself on justice and truth. If one of its member species had committed genocide and hidden the evidence, Nolo made a decision that would change his career in galactic history. He opened a channel to the Phoenix. Commander Park, this is Captain Nolo of the Taxil. I request a private meeting to discuss these allegations. The truth must be known. On the Phoenix, Zhu smiled. The first crack had appeared in the hegemony's united front. It wasn't a victory yet, but it was a beginning. The truth will set us all free, Captain, she replied. Even you. The Grand Chamber of the Hegemony Council buzzed with urgent voices. Hundreds of representatives from 87 species filled the tiered seats. Emergency lighting pulsed softly along the walls, signaling the gravity of the session. Elder diplomat Vex rose from his seat, his tall willowy frame commanding attention. His skin shimmered with the pale blue markings of his species. Most respected colleagues, esteemed colleagues, he began, his translator converting his melodic language into the standard hegemony speech. We face an unprecedented situation. A species we believed extinct has returned, bringing questions that deserve careful consideration. Holographic displays showed images of the Phoenix and its human crew. Vex gestured toward them. These humans developed without our influence. Their technology follows different principles. We must understand them before we decide their status. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Council member Droll, a stocky, ridge-backed representative of the Caxan Confederacy, stood in opposition. Earth is classified as a memorial world, he countered, his voice harsh and grating. By our laws, these humans have no claim to their ancestral system. Their appearance is unfortunate but irrelevant to established galactic order. The Tauran delegation sat silently, their blue carapaces gleaming under the chamber lights. High Commander Zilks of the Tauran merely observed, his compound eyes revealing nothing. The humans request formal recognition and sovereignty over the Earth system, announced the council moderator. They claim historical evidence of outside aggression against their world. High Commander Zilks finally rose. The Tauran Imperium rejects these baseless accusations. Historical records clearly show humans destroyed themselves through nuclear warfare. We discovered their ruined world a century later. These returning humans must accept established fact. Elsewhere in the chamber, Captain Nolo watched from a witness stand. After his meeting with Commander Park, he'd been recalled to the hegemony capital to testify. His superiors were not pleased with his unsanctioned diplomacy. The evidence the humans presented is compelling, Nolo stated when called upon. At minimum, it deserves thorough investigation. The Tauran delegation chittered angrily at this, mandibles clicking in displeasure. Meanwhile, aboard the Phoenix, Commander Ju Park watched the council proceedings through a direct feed. The ship remained in Earth orbit, now under the watchful eyes of 6 hegemony warships. "They're stalling," said Dar. Miho Kim, standing beside her. The intelligence officer had spent days analyzing hegemony archives. The Tauran delegation is trying to block any serious investigation. Ju nodded grimly. And the council might let them. "Show me what you found." Miho activated a holographic display. The official history claims the Tauran discovered Earth in 2257, a century after the supposed human civil war. But I found shipping records showing Tauran vessels in Earth's vicinity as early as 2156, before the attack. Ju said quietly, "Yes, and there's more." Miho displayed military requisition orders. The Tauran military requested specific radiation shielding upgrades for their fleet in 2155, the exact type needed to protect against the weapons later used on Earth. They planned the attack in advance, Ju concluded. But why? Resources, perhaps, or fear of competition. Miho shrugged. The Tauran were expanding rapidly then, building their empire before joining the hegemony. Ju's eyes narrowed. Find more proof, something they can't dismiss. There's one possibility, Miho said hesitantly. The hegemony maintains sealed archives on classified worlds. If we could access the records on Centauri 4. That's deep in hegemony space, Security Officer Doyen interjected. Heavily guarded. Then we don't go in force, Ju decided. We go quietly. While the council debated, the Phoenix appeared to remain in Earth orbit. In reality, a smaller craft detached from the main ship, carrying Ju, Miho, and a small team. Using the quantum fold drive, they arrived at Centauri 4 within hours. The archive world was a fortress of knowledge. Vast underground vaults contained the hegemony's most sensitive information. Security was tight but focused on conventional threats. Their sensors can't detect our quantum signatures, Engineer Jean Wu explained as they approached in stealth mode. As far as they're concerned, we don't exist. Landing in an isolated valley, the team used personal stealth tech to approach the archive entrance. Miho had studied the facility's layout during their journey. The historical records section is 3 levels down, he whispered. We need access codes. Leave that to me, said Communications Officer Yuna. Using a device of her own design, she intercepted and cloned the credentials of an arriving archivist. Inside, the team moved quickly through towering shelves of data storage units. The archive was mostly automated, with few staff present. Following Miho's directions, they reached a sealed vault marked with Tauran symbols. Restricted access, Yuna murmured, studying the security panel. This will take time. We don't have time, Ju replied. Use the override. Yuna hesitated, then nodded. The override was a controversial device developed on Proxima Centauri, a fusion of quantum computing and neural interface technology that could break almost any security system. Using it would reveal capabilities humans preferred to keep secret. The vault opened silently. Inside, they found what they were looking for, original, unaltered records of the Tauran's first contact with Earth. Download everything, Jude quickly. Back at the Hegemony Council, the debate had turned heated. Elder diplomat Vex was losing ground to the Tauren-led faction. Without conclusive evidence, we must maintain the status quo, High Commander Zilks insisted. These humans have no standing to challenge established historical record. Captain Nolo watched helplessly as the council prepared to vote. Then every screen in the chamber suddenly changed. The official feed was hijacked, replaced by ancient Tauren military logs. The chamber fell silent as the recordings played, Tauren commanders discussing Earth's resources, planning the attack, celebrating their victory, and the perfect cover story of human self-destruction. High Commander Zilks rose in fury. This is fabricated, a human deception. These are Tauren military codes and encryption from 3 centuries ago, countered Elder Vex, studying the data, authenticated by the Archives' own verification systems. Chaos erupted in the chamber. Species turned against species as accusations flew. The carefully maintained order of the hegemony threatened to fracture. Amid the tumult, a new transmission appeared. Commander Ju Park stood before the council, her image projected from the Phoenix. Members of the Hegemony Council, she began, her voice calm but firm, we did not return to seek vengeance or to disrupt your alliance. We came for truth and justice. The chamber gradually quieted. Earth is healing, Ju continued. Our ancestral home can support life again. We seek recognition of our rightful claim to rebuild there and acknowledgement of the historical crime committed against our people. Elder Vex stepped forward. The evidence appears conclusive. The Tauren attacked Earth unprovoked and falsified the historical record. High Commander Zilks and the Tauren delegation found themselves isolated as other species drew away, their deception exposed. This council must vote, Elder Vex declared, not only on the human claim to Earth but on the Tauren responsibility for crimes against a sentient species. As the vote began, Ju and her team returned to the Phoenix. They had taken an enormous risk, but the truth was finally emerging. The long-hidden story of Earth's devastation and humanity's survival would reshape galactic history. What happens now? Asked Miho as they watched the council proceedings. Now, Ju replied, we prepare to go home. High Admiral Taulok watched the tactical display with satisfaction. 30 warships now surrounded the solitary human vessel in Earth orbit. The impressive show of force had come directly from Tauren pressure on the Hegemony Council while the political debate continued. Military action would settle matters more decisively. The containment fleet is in position, Admiral reported his second in command. Excellent. Telok's scaled skin gleamed under the bridge lights. Hail the human vessel. When Commander Ju Park appeared on screen, her calm expression surprised Taulok. Most species showed fear when confronted by such overwhelming force. Commander Park, Tal began formally, the Hegemony has authorized this fleet to secure historical Site E-3721 from unauthorized presence. You will power down your systems and prepare for boarding. Ju's expression remained unchanged. Admiral, Earth is our ancestral home. We have legitimate right to be here. The Council has not ruled on your claim, Tala replied. Until they do, you will comply with Hegemony security protocols. And if we refuse? Talek smiled coldly. 1 ship against 30. I admire your courage, Commander, but surely you see the reality of your situation. On the Phoenix's bridge, Security Officer Doan whispered to Ju, they're targeting our engines and communication array. Ju nodded slightly. Open a private channel to Captain Nolo's ship, she instructed Communications Officer Yuna. Captain Nolo, who had returned from the council hearings, appeared on a secondary screen. Commander Park, I advised against this confrontation. The Tauren faction has temporarily gained military authority. Then it's time for plan revelation, Ju replied. Stand by, Captain. She turned back to Admiral Talo on the main screen. Admiral, we came in peace, she transmitted to the Hegemony fleet, but we came prepared. Zhu nodded to Engineer Jin Wu, who activated a sequence on his console. Throughout the bridge, crew members tensed in anticipation. In the quantum dimension that existed alongside normal space, 18 human vessels had been traveling with the Phoenix since leaving Proxima Centauri. Invisible to conventional sensors, they had remained in a state of quantum coherence, neither fully present nor absent in normal space. Now, on Jin Wu's command, they shifted fully into reality. On the hegemony flagship, alarms blared. "Admiral," shouted the sensor officer. Multiple vessels appearing throughout the system. They were nowhere, and now they're everywhere. Talak stared in disbelief as 18 sleek human ships materialized among his neatly arranged formation. His perfect encirclement of the Phoenix was suddenly meaningless. Some human vessels had appeared directly behind his warships, others near Earth's moon, and 3 hovered near the system's communications relay. "Impossible," he replied.